A cooker and a washing machine is about all that's recognisable in what was once a family home. Still there are flames, even though water now drips down from the ceilings where once the fire raged. Another photograph shows the fire crews streaming in. A local resident also captured some video inside Grenfell Tower. Twisted metal and other debris has fallen from above. On the stairwell, water streams down what would have been the only escape route for families. This was filmed on the night of the fire, so higher up the stairs there is billowing smoke. On the 7th floor, one family was about to make a life or death decision. Abraham, Turfat and their son Abem had already turned back once because the smoke was too thick. But when a fire crew arrived, they were told they had no choice but to try again.
If you ask me how do you take the stairs, I don't know. Because I can't remember, but it's just a split second. You have to run for your life because there was so much smoke inside and you don't know where the fire comes. And
Did you cover your clothes in water or cover your face?
Nothing. I just cover with a scarf his face. That's it.
If it wasn't for the fireman come and knock the door, we wouldn't come out at all.
Yes.
And we thought inside we're safe inside because we don't know the fire was spreading. We don't really know what's happening.
No.
Yeah, and we don't have any fire alarm at all in the building.
Up to 600 people lived here. The higher up, the harder to get out. A tower of 120 homes, and anyone looking can see why the death toll is set to rise and why it's so difficult for emergency services to recover the dead. This woman who didn't want to be identified said her friend Noura Jamal was on the 21st floor and Noura's husband was on the phone when the fire reached the kitchen.
Even her husband, he was on the phone as well. He was on the phone and he said the fire is already in their kitchen. So they said it is too late to come out. They are saying they are going to die.
Noura, her husband Hashim, and their 3 children are still missing.
Okay, don't open the front door. You're going to bring the smoke in. Okay.
Harrowing pictures sent to Facebook show another woman who was trapped on the 23rd floor called Rania Ibrahim.
Hello, come here. Come here, hello.
After letting others into her home, she shuts the door on the smoke-filled corridor.
Okay. Oh my God, I close it. I close it. Okay.
And then she prays, while looking down on the blue flashing lights below. Today, her best friend, who didn't want to be filmed, told me Rania had 2 children, aged 8 and 9. That night, Rania had tried to call her. She'd had 5 missed calls, the last at 3 a.m. Everywhere here, there is sadness, thoughts of loved ones lost. Well, people have come down to this wall to express how they're feeling. This is a community united in grief, but there's also a growing anger here, the feeling that this was an accident waiting to happen. That anger centres around whether the safety of residents was ignored when the tower was refurbished, wrapped in what appears to have been flammable cladding. How do you feel when you look at that building now?
What do you mean, how do I feel? How do you feel? Look at, when you can look at that building, you can tell me how you feel and times that by 1,000. Do you know what I mean? It's not just looking at the building and saying, how do I feel? It's looking at the building and knowing that I know people who died in that building. Everyone, every resident, every person who can call himself a part of this community of Notting Hill would have at least known one person in that building.
Locals have also complained of a gas installation they say left exposed pipes in the stairwell.
I saw blue flames and I have videos which show blue flames.
Did you see it in the stairwell?
We saw I can show you the stairwell. That's the emergency stairwell running up the middle there. Do you see that? Can you get that on your camera there?
So the flame running up the middle
That flame running up, that's the stairwell on either side. That was it. And blue flames were then shooting off this at times.
How old is she?
She's 12 years old. It's on the 20th floor.
Was she at home at the time?
Yes, she is.
Today, Jeremy Corbyn visited a community centre and insisted these questions needed to be answered.
Some very hard questions have got to be asked, and some very hard questions must be answered. A construction of a tower block is essentially a series of concrete boxes, which are the flats. The fire is not supposed to spread from one flat to another. It's supposed to be contained. It wasn't.
The Prime Minister also visited the area and spoke to firefighters.
What we need to do is to ensure that this terrible tragedy is properly investigated. That's why I'm ordering a full public inquiry, so we can get to the answers, we can find out exactly what happened and why it happened. And it became clear to me this morning that that was necessary, because when I visited the scene, when I spoke to the emergency services, they told me that this fire, the way this fire progressed, how it took hold of this building, was rapid, it was ferocious, and it was unexpected.
Meanwhile, the work to secure the building and to get answers for the families of the missing continues.
We have experts from the London Fire Brigade working with colleagues from the police service as a priority to not just gain access but to recover those that are inside. Now that's going to take us a considerable period of time, and for a number of reasons. The intensity of fire is like to have created significant damage in there. We need to make sure it's safe for those that are going in, to locate people, to recover them, and then we need to identify them and support the families accordingly.
There is growing frustration from the families of the missing about the lack of information. While the names of 24 missing people have been circulated, there is no official number. And it seems the grim task ahead of finding and identifying the dead is going to take time. Jason Farrell, Sky News.